The location shoot and the set shoot were shot about a year apart. Maybe you don't notice it, maybe you do, I don't know.
I arrived a year later. You're thinking, are we able to kind of connect that performance into where we'd been? Can this all run together? But again, we had to trust the director.
In the end, it was actually good having a gap between the location filming and the set filming, as it gave me time to edit the start and the end of the film and use the rehearsal footage to fill in the gap where the set shoot would be.
Steve very cleverly managed to place all of that together as a rough edit.
So this meant we basically had a previs of the lift scene, and we could watch it before doing the studio filming, and it meant that everybody knew exactly what action we would need to cover and what the pacing of those scenes should probably be like.
Gives him the briefcase back, I love that. It's like, is you right, buddy? Do you need somewhere to go? Like... That
really added to the confidence because we could see the whole piece working. We just now had to get back into that story and into the environment.
3, 2, 1, bang!
What was that? Oh my God, what's happening? I knew this was a bad idea.
I was stuck between two floors.
You've slowly inherited his calmness because he's like problem-solving situation. You were the panicked one. He's got you talking, he's calmed you down, and you're like, oh.
Half of directing really is just casting the perfect people, and both Craig and Phil are such great actors, and they brought so much to their roles.
And you could try saying some of that not to him as if you don't care if he tells you or not.
It was just a joy to develop those scenes with them. They take you on such a journey with all the little nuances they do with the script.
Yeah, it's good, it's going to be great.
Guys, it's so much fun to watch. 39, take 1 marker. Thank you.
Steve decided to shoot my character for the main bulk of the morning. So we were looking out of the Baltic window into that amazing scenery. And we were able to move the window out in the afternoon to come round and get Phil.
You know when he's calming you down, do eyes shut and heavy breathing. You know, we're going to get through this.
I need you to calm down, all right? Just focus, relax.
One of the joys, I think, of filming Payback, especially from having a theatrical background, was in the set. Once we were away from the Baltic and how little time we had there, we were able to just run the scene 3-4 pages at a time. So it felt like you were doing a live performance. Again, on sets, you may get half a page of stop and start and stop and start, whereas this just felt like there was a freedom to play the piece. We could just enjoy living those scenes. That's a real privilege as an actor. Such a luxury.
Cutting there. Wow, we ran a lot of that.
Yeah, okay, 45, take 1. Marker, thank you.
As much as it's a two-hander with us both, Craig really carries this whole film and the energy that he's putting across, the intensity in his eyes, and he was cast perfectly for this. It's a big role, it's a hard thing to hit all of those notes, and he does it beautifully. He gets all of the emotions and all the subtleties in there. He's a really, really talented actor, and it was fantastic for me to be able to work with someone like him. He makes the film, he really makes the film.
Things aren't always that simple, are they?
Why? What happened?
Personally, I'm always quite nervous when I first arrive to a set, but Phil's got a real openness. He's a very generous actor. He'll go with you. It's such a wonderful gift because if Phil came up with something or said something or went another route or another direction, you could just play with him. And that is ultimately, I think, the bliss for actors. And Phil manages to do that extremely well. I absolutely loved working with him. I think he's a tremendous guy and a much harder job for him because he had the accent, but he committed completely.
What was that? Oh my God, I knew this was a bad idea. If in doubt as an American, I just have to say, oh God. And then
oh my God.
And also, he had the pressure of being a producer on the piece. So the fact that he held it together, and he was also thinking while he was doing a scene with me by the end of it, right, what do you want for your lunch? That takes some doing, that does. So yeah, top man.
I want you to look over here and just have a think about whether you're going to tell this guy or not, because you really want to tell someone. But I just want to see whether you're going to tell him or not. 3, 2, 1, action.
I think for me, one of the things that sets Steve above a lot of up-and-coming directors is you feel when you get on set, everybody is of equal standing. Sometimes with the director will say, this is what I want, but you don't know why he wants it. Being free to work as an actor and for the director to trust you have your talents to bring is a good exchange.
Let's try and do one that's a little bit more keeping your feelings bottled up. I'm trying to keep your armour on.
So I'll start emotional, I'll clear it up.
Yeah,
yes,
recover. As soon as he says the first line, remember where you are.
Yeah. We are there as an ensemble, and never did you feel insulted, interrupted, or lost in the vision of the whole piece. He kept us in touch with the whole process. It was always cohesive, inclusive, and to me, That sets him above many. If other actors said to me, would you work with Steve Ramsden again, or should I work with him? Jump at it, you're in for a hell of a ride.
What are you doing here today?
Me? I'm here to meet my son.
As we see most of the story from Michael's point of view, we tended to shoot him closer and slightly wider, while John we shot a little further away, sometimes over Michael's shoulder, and on a slightly longer lens. There were a couple of fun, real sort of paranoia moments from Michael as well, where we got in really close and went even wider with the lens, and that just helped us really get inside his head. And I would usually add a little tilt for moments that seem to be spiraling out of control and where everything doesn't feel right. So even though we were in this little confined space, I found that you could still get quite creative with the shots.
43, take one, thank you.
There is a tendency with digital technology to kind of go, we'll just do another take, we'll do another take, we'll do another take. But because we were doing 3-4 pages at a time, the more takes you do, the more exhausting it becomes, the more laboured the dialogue feels, and also the more frustrated the actor begins to get. But luckily for us, Steve, I think it was never more than 3 takes. And I think that is really good because it feels again like you're working on film.
I want my son back.
Your son?
We had one scene where Craig's character Michael has to pin Phil up against the wall. And there isn't really a way of doing that gently.
He wants to rip this man apart and find out what is going on.
Craig's grab had to be real, had to be strong, had to be forceful.
So we went for it.
Despite it being really solidly built, we just had this huge wobble from the set when it happened.
It got this like Faulty Towers kind of wobble.
But luckily in the film, I don't think you can tell.
If we go much harder, this set's going to come down.
It could have been disastrous because we didn't have another set.
We got there.
Marker.
In the end, we also had time to reshoot a couple of those sections where the lift had been moving in the set. And we used that old trick of moving a light up and down the actors, and it kind of looks like light coming from the passing floors. And our plate shot of the view from the real lift was actually such a good match that it fitted perfectly.
It's unbelievable that with good planning, good preparation, and a good cast and crew, we really filmed the whole thing with very few hiccups or problems. You know, Steve had a vision, he got the piece that he wanted.